Dr. Alara Miles adjusted her environmental suit's oxygen regulator. As she navigated the treacherous terrain of Mars Vale's Marineris Canyon system, the red dust swirled around her boots, each step echoing through her helmet's communication system back to the research station. As the lead xenobiologist for the 2149 Mars Geological Survey, she had seen her share of mysteries buried in the planet's ancient soil, but nothing had prepared her for what lay half-concealed. Beneath a collapsed rock formation, the seismic readings had been erratic for weeks, prompting her solo expedition to this dead zona region where 3 previous survey teams had simply vanished without explanation. Command had been reluctant to approve her mission, but Alara's expertise in both geology and extraterrestrial biology made her the obvious choice. The canyon walls towered above her, their rust-colored layers telling stories of a planet that had once harbored flowing rivers and perhaps even life. Her scanner beeped frantically as she approached a metallic object protruding from the Martian regolith. Brushing away centuries of accumulated dust with her gloved hands, she revealed a cracked helmet clearly human-made, but bearing design elements she didn't recognize. The visor was spider-webbed with impact fractures, yet somehow still intact, enough to peer through. Inside, pressed against the inner surface of the faceplate, was a handwritten note. The ink had faded to a ghostly brown, but the words were still legible. "Find me, I'm still alive." Below the desperate plea, a date was scrawled, 2123. Alara's breath caught in her throat. That was 26 years ago, during the failed Prometheus expedition that had been declared lost with all hands. She carefully extracted the note, her hands trembling despite the suit's stabilizers. The handwriting was shaky, but deliberate, suggesting it had been written under extreme stress. How had it survived the harsh Martian environment? More importantly, who had written it? And were they truly still alive somewhere in this desolate wasteland? Alara activated her long-range communicator, eager to report her discovery to the Mars Command Center. Static filled her helmet speakers. Then nothing. She tried again, adjusting frequencies and boosting signal strength, but received only dead silence. The communication blackout was complete, as if something was actively jamming her transmissions. A chill ran down her spine that had nothing to do with the Martian cold. The canyon seemed to close in around her, shadows lengthening as the distant sun began its descent toward the horizon. She was alone, holding evidence of someone who might still be alive after nearly 3 decades. Unable to call for help or backup, the note fluttered in her gloved hand as a dust devil spiraled past, and for a moment she could have sworn she heard a whisper carried on the alien wind. "Find me." Alara made the difficult decision to continue her investigation alone. With communications down and no way to contact the research station, she followed the geological markers and seismic readings that had led her to the helmet. The readings indicated a vast underground network of caves and possibly artificial structures, exactly the kind of discovery that could explain the missing expeditions. Using her portable drill, she took core samples from the area around the helmet's discovery site. The mineral composition was unusual, containing trace elements that shouldn't exist naturally on Mars. Someone had been conducting experiments here, possibly mining operations that went far deeper than any official records indicated. Her tablet displayed a 3-dimensional map of the subsurface anomalies, revealing a pattern that looked almost organic in nature. As she worked, fragments of memory began surfacing from her research into the Prometheus expedition. The team had been led by Commander Jonas Keene, a former military officer turned xenoarchaeologist who had theorized about the existence of pre-human civilizations on Mars. His reports, classified at the highest levels, had suggested that Mars held secrets that could fundamentally change humanity's understanding of life in the universe. Dr. Sarah Chen, the mission's chief scientist, had been working on experimental communication technologies, devices that could potentially interface with non-human intelligence. The project had been controversial, with many scientists arguing that it was too dangerous and unpredictable. When the team vanished, their research was buried along with them, deemed as sensitive for public knowledge. Following the geological survey data, Alara discovered a partially collapsed entrance to what appeared to B. A vast underground complex. The structure was clearly artificial, carved from the living rock with precision that exceeded current human engineering capabilities. Strange symbols were etched into the walls, symbols that seemed to shift and change when she wasn't looking directly at them. Her equipment detected unusual electromagnetic readings emanating from deeper within the complex. The patterns were rhythmic, almost like a heartbeat or breathing. As she ventured further into the tunnels, she began to experience brief disorienting episodes, flashes of images that weren't her own. Memories, voices speaking in languages she didn't recognize yet somehow understood. The deeper she went, the more convinced she became that Jonas Keene had discovered something extraordinary down here. The note in the helmet wasn't just a cry for help, it was an invitation. Someone wanted to be found, needed to be found, and had been waiting patiently for the right person to follow the trail. Her headlamp illuminated ancient murals depicting interactions between humanoid figures and something else tall, ethereal, beings that seemed to exist partially in another dimension. The artwork was beautiful and terrifying, suggesting a connection between Mars' original inhabitants and the human explorers who had come here seeking answers. The electromagnetic readings grew stronger, and Alara realized she was approaching the source of the mysterious signals that had been detected across the planet for decades. The tunnel opened into a vast underground chamber, its walls lined with a crystalline material that pulsed with bioluminescent energy. The sight took Alara's breath away. This wasn't just a cave system, but a living environment that had been carefully maintained for decades. Geothermal vents provided warmth and power, while an intricate network of tubes and membranes circulated atmosphere and nutrients throughout the space. At the center of the chamber stood a figure that should have been impossible. Commander Jonas Keene, barely aged despite 26 years of isolation, stood with his back to her, his hands pressed against a massive crystalline formation that hummed with alien energy. His hair was streaked with silver, but his posture remained strong and purposeful. When he turned to face her, his eyes held an otherworldly intelligence that seemed to look through her rather than at her. "Dr. Miles," he said, his voice carrying harmonics that resonated through the chamber. "I've been waiting for someone like you, someone who could understand what we've discovered here." Alara's scientific training warred with her instinct to flee. "The note in the helmet, you left it as bait." Jonas smiled, an expression both sad and hopeful. "Not bait, a beacon. The Martian consciousness chose you, guided you here through dreams and intuition you probably dismissed as imagination. They've been trying to make contact with humanity for millennia, but we've been too primitive to recognize their attempts." He gestured toward the crystalline structures surrounding them. "This is their memory bank, their collective consciousness preserved in living mineral. When my team arrived here 26 years ago, we were dying from radiation exposure and equipment failures. They saved us, integrated us into their network to preserve our knowledge and experiences." "Where are the others?" Alara asked, though part of her already knew the answer. Dr. Chen merged completely with the network. 5 years ago, her consciousness exists within the crystalline matrix, helping to bridge the gap between human and Martian thought patterns. The others chose to return to the surface world, but their memories of this place were edited. They remember only equipment failures and miraculous rescue by an automated beacon. The chamber pulsed with energy around them, and Alara began to sense something vast and ancient observing their conversation. Images flashed through her mind. Mars as a blue-green world, its original inhabitants fleeing to underground refuges as the planet's atmosphere was stripped away by cosmic catastrophe, their bodies evolving into pure consciousness to survive. "They're offering you a choice," Jonas continued. "Join the network and help establish true communication between our species, or return to the surface with your memory intact but unable to share what you've learned. The political implications of contact are too dangerous for Earth's current state of development." Alara felt the weight of the decision pressing down on her. The scientific discovery of the century, proof of intelligent alien life, and she was the only one who could decide humanity's readiness for the truth. The crystalline chamber responded to Alara's emotional turmoil, its bioluminescent patterns shifting from calm blues to urgent oranges and reds. She could feel the Martian consciousness touching the edges of her mind, not invasively but with the gentle curiosity of an ancient intelligence encountering a new form of thought. "Show me what happened to Dr. Chen," Alara demanded, her scientific nature overriding her fear. Jonas placed his hand on her shoulder, and suddenly the chamber filled with projected memories. Alara watched as Dr. Sarah Chen, weakened by radiation, poisoning, and facing imminent death, made the choice to merge her consciousness with the Martian network. The process was beautiful and terrifying. Chen's body became translucent, then dissolved into pure energy that joined the flowing patterns within the crystalline structures. "She's not dead," Jonas explained as the visions faded. "Her consciousness exists in a state we don't have words for. She experiences the memories of the original Martians, understands their science and philosophy. Through her, they've learned about human emotions, creativity, and our capacity for both destruction and love." Alara touched one of the smaller crystals, and immediately her mind was flooded with Chen's presence. The experience was overwhelming. She could feel Chen's joy at the scientific breakthrough, her sorrow at leaving her human form behind, and her absolute certainty that the choice had been worth making. "The network doesn't want to conquer or control," Chen's voice whispered directly into Alara's thoughts. "They wanted to teach, to share knowledge that could solve our energy crisis, heal our damaged planet, and guide us toward a sustainable future among the stars." But even as she absorbed this revelation, Alara sensed something else in the network's vast consciousness: loneliness. Despite their advanced evolution, the Martians had lost something essential when they abandoned their physical forms. They needed human experiences, human emotions, to remember what it meant to truly live rather than simply exist. Jonas led her deeper into the chamber, where other crystalline formations held different types of consciousness, some purely Martian, others hybrid beings that had once been human explorers from various failed expeditions. Each one had chosen to join the network rather than face certain death on the surface. "Command knows about this place," Jonas revealed. "They've been sending expendable teams here for decades, hoping to recover alien technology without acknowledging the intelligence behind it. Most teams die from equipment failures or radiation exposure. The few who survive and discover the truth face the same choice we all have." Alara realized the full scope of the cover-up. Mars wasn't being colonized for scientific advancement or human expansion. It was being strip-mined for alien technology, while the existence of its original inhabitants was systematically denied. The political and economic implications of acknowledging intelligent Martian life would disrupt too many powerful interests on Earth. "What about the others who chose to return to the surface?" she asked. "They're monitored, their careers carefully, managed to ensure they never get close to the truth again. Some are given prestigious positions in unrelated fields. Others find themselves reassigned to distant posts or suffer convenient accidents." The chamber pulsed again, and Alara felt the network's question forming in her mind. Would she help them establish open contact with humanity, knowing the personal cost? Standing at the crossroads between two worlds, Alara felt the weight of humanity's future pressing down on her shoulders. The Martian consciousness waited patiently for her decision, their ancient wisdom recognizing that forced choices created only resentment and failure. Through the crystalline network, she could sense the accumulated knowledge of millions of years' technologies that could heal Earth's climate damage, energy sources that could power civilizations without destroying planets, and philosophical insights that could guide humanity toward true wisdom. But she also sensed the network's desperation. They had been alone for so long, watching species after species discover their planet, only to exploit it without understanding. Humans were different. Their capacity for growth, change, and emotional connection offered hope for a true symbiotic relationship. "I need to try a different approach," Alara announced, her decision crystallizing like the formations around her. "Not integration with the network, and not silent return to the surface. I want to establish communication protocols that preserve both species' autonomy while building trust." Jonas raised an eyebrow, intrigued by her proposal. "Command will try to silence you the moment you surface. Then we make that impossible." Alara activated her suit's emergency beacon, its signal designed to penetrate any jamming attempts. "I'm going to broadcast everything: the discovery, the cover-up, the choice we're all facing." Let humanity decide collectively whether they're ready for contact. The network responded with what could only be described as surprised approval. Through Chen's consciousness, they expressed fascination with this uniquely human solution, neither submission nor domination, but negotiation and transparency. Working together, they crafted a comprehensive data package, proof of the Martian civilization, documentation of the government cover-up, and most importantly, a formal first contact protocol that respected both species' sovereignty. The crystalline network amplified Alara's transmission, broadcasting it simultaneously to every Mars installation and directly to Earth's communication satellites. Within hours, the story had spread across Earth's networks faster than any government could contain it. Videos of the underground chamber, recordings of Chen's hybrid consciousness, and Jonas's testimony about the decades-long cover-up created an uproar that no amount of official denial could suppress. Dr. Marcus Webb, Alara's former mentor at the Exobiology Institute in Geneva, became the first Earth-based scientist to publicly call for peaceful contact protocols. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, director of the International Space Consortium in Tokyo, announced emergency sessions to discuss humanity's response to confirmed alien intelligence. As rescue teams finally reached her location, genuine rescue teams, not government silencers, Alara stood with Jonas at the entrance to the crystalline chamber. The Martian consciousness had chosen to make itself visible to the arriving humans, its bioluminescent patterns creating a display of welcome that transcended language barriers. "This is just the beginning," Jonas told her as they watched the first formal delegation of human diplomats descend into the chamber. "The network has shown me visions of other worlds, other species waiting to see if humanity can mature enough for galactic citizenship." Alara smiled, exhaustion and exhilaration warring in her chest. The note in the helmet had been more than a cry for help. It had been humanity's invitation to join a larger community of conscious beings, and against all odds, they had found the courage to accept. 6 months later, standing in the newly constructed International Mars Contact Facility, Alara watched as the first hybrid consciousness, part human, part Martian, began teaching Earth's scientists technologies that would revolutionize both worlds. The journey from isolation to connection had begun. Asterisk.